It all started when my brand new PlayStation 5 arrived on my doorstep. I had pre-ordered it months in advance, and after waiting through endless supply chain delays, I finally got the notification. Your package has been delivered. Excited beyond belief, I rushed home from work, ready to unbox my gaming treasure. However, as soon as I pulled into my driveway, I noticed something was off. The package was missing. My porch camera, which I had recently installed due to package thefts in the neighborhood, had caught everything. And by everything, I mean Karen, my entitled neighbor, waltzing up my steps and snatching my package as if it were a lost puppy. The footage showed her shamelessly inspecting the label, looking around to see if anyone was watching, and then booking it back to her house with my PS5 under her arm. At first, I was stunned. This wasn't a delivery mistake or a misunderstanding. This was theft. And it wasn't even a casual oops, I thought this was mine situation. Karen knew exactly what she was doing. The camera even caught her smirking as she took the box, her entitled expression practically screaming, "Finders keepers." My first instinct was to march over to her house and demand my package back, but I knew better than to confront Karen without solid proof. Instead, I decided to play the long game. I called up a few friends who had been pranking each other for years, and together, we devised the perfect plan. Knowing Karen's reputation for entitlement, I figured she'd try to flaunt her stolen prize. Sure enough, later that evening, I saw her teenage son bragging on social media about their new PS5. The audacity! She had stolen my console and was now parading it around like some kind of victory. But here's the kicker. Karen had no idea that my PS5 was still inside my house. The box she stole? It was full of rocks. See, a few weeks prior, I had ordered some expensive camera gear, and knowing the risks of porch piracy, I had arranged for the package to be held at a pickup location. But the delivery service had still left a decoy box on my porch that was full of packing material and literally just some random rocks to make it look like a real package. I could barely contain my laughter. Karen had stolen a box of rocks. But, of course, she was about to find out the hard way. The next morning, I casually walked over to Karen's house and rang the doorbell. She opened the door with the smuggest expression I had ever seen, like she knew exactly why I was there but was waiting for me to admit my PS5 had been misdelivered to her. Before I could say anything, she cut me off. "Oh, hello neighbor," she said, dripping with fake sweetness. "Can I help you?" I took a deep breath and gave her a friendly smile. "Yeah, actually. I got a notification that my PlayStation 5 was delivered yesterday, but it's not on my porch. I checked my security camera, and, well, you took it." Karen's face twitched for a second before she forced another smile. "Oh, that package? It was just sitting there unclaimed. I thought someone had left it for donation or something. You know how people leave old stuff out for pickup?" "Karen," I said, crossing my arms. "That's not how packages work." Her fake smile faltered. "Well, if it was really yours, why didn't you put a sign on it?" I almost burst out laughing. A sign? Who in their right mind puts a sign on their own package saying, "Hey, don't steal this"? I decided to let her dig her hole deeper. "Well, since I have video footage of you taking it, I'd appreciate it if you'd just return it. No harm, no foul." Karen scoffed. "Video footage?" she said, rolling her eyes. "You mean one of those cheap doorbell cameras? Those things are not reliable evidence. Besides, I already gave the package to my son as a gift. I can't take back a gift. That would be stealing." I blinked. Did she seriously just try to claim that giving stolen property away made it legally hers? I was speechless. But before I could respond, the exact moment I had been waiting for arrived. Her teenage son came running out of the house, looking furious. "Mom," he shouted. "This isn't a PS5. It's just a bunch of stupid rocks." Karen froze. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. I could see the exact moment realization hit her. She had stolen nothing but a glorified paperweight. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from bursting into laughter. She turned back to me, her face burning red with rage. You lied. You set me up. You can't do this to me. I shrugged innocently. Oh, I didn't do anything. You stole my package. It's not my fault you happened to grab the wrong one. Karen looked like she was about to combust. You? But before she could finish her rant, her son stomped back inside, yelling, "This is so embarrassing. I told everyone I had a PS5. Now they're all laughing at me." Karen clenched her fist so hard her knuckles went white. She looked back at me, her expression morphing into something sinister. "This isn't over," she hissed. "I deserve that PS5. If you don't give it to me right now, I'll—" And that's when she made her biggest mistake. Instead of just admitting defeat, Karen lunged at me. She actually tried to grab my shirt, screeching like a banshee, her long nails aimed straight for my face. What she didn't realize was that my porch camera had been recording everything. And now? Now she had just escalated the situation to a whole new level. The moment Karen lunged at me, screeching like a banshee and clawing at my shirt, I instinctively took a step back, barely dodging her grasping hands. Her wild eyes were filled with rage as she shouted, "Give me that PS5. You lied to me. You set me up." I could hardly believe the audacity. She had stolen my package, tried to keep it, and was now physically attacking me because she got tricked by her own greed. I didn't even have time to react before she tried again. This time, she actually grabbed my hoodie, pulling me forward with surprising strength. "Where is it?" she shrieked. "You hid it. Give it to me right now or I'm calling the police." At that moment, I lost it. I ripped her hand off me and stepped back, holding up my hands. "Karen," I said as calmly as possible, "you need to leave. Right now. You just physically assaulted me, and guess what?" I pointed at my doorbell camera, the little red light blinking as it recorded everything. "That's all on camera." Her face went pale for just a second. But then, in true Karen fashion, she doubled down. "You can't record me without my consent," she bellowed, her voice echoing through the neighborhood. "That's illegal. I'll sue you for invading my privacy." I blinked at her. "Karen, you came to my house. You stole my package. You attacked me. That's not an invasion of your privacy, that's evidence." Now, any normal person would have realized they had just made a huge mistake and backed off. But not Karen. Oh no. Instead of walking away and salvaging what little dignity she had left, she whipped out her phone and called 911. I kid you not, this woman actually dialed the cops. I watched in disbelief as she turned her back to me and started screaming into her phone, fake crying like she had just been brutally attacked. "Yes, officer, please come quick. My neighbor is threatening me. He stole my son's PlayStation and he's getting violent. I'm scared for my life." I stood there, completely flabbergasted. Was she seriously trying to flip the situation? Was she actually insane? Apparently, yes. Because within minutes, I heard the sound of sirens. The police had actually shown up. Now, I wasn't too worried because I knew I had the ultimate defense, my doorbell camera footage. But I also knew that in situations like this, the first impression mattered. If I didn't handle this carefully, Karen might actually convince the cops that I was the aggressor. As the patrol car pulled up, Karen immediately went into full victim mode. She ran up to the officers, tears streaming down her face, probably fake, pointing a shaking finger at me. "There he is. That's him. He stole from me. He assaulted me." The officer, a middle-aged man who looked like he had seen it all, turned to me. "Sir, step over here." I took a deep breath and walked over. "Mind telling me what happened?" he asked. Before I could even open my mouth, Karen cut in. "I ordered a PlayStation 5, and this thief stole it from my porch," she shrieked. "Then he attacked me when I tried to get it back. He's dangerous. I want him arrested." The officer turned back to me. "Is that true?" I smirked. "Actually, "Officer, I have video proof that she's lying." Karen's fake sobs immediately stopped. "Video proof?" the officer asked, raising an eyebrow. I nodded and pulled out my phone, scrolling to the footage from my doorbell cam. I pressed play, and the video clearly showed Karen walking onto my porch, reading the label on the package, stealing it, and running back to her house. I let it keep playing, showing the part where I politely confronted her, her son admitting the box was full of rocks, and then Karen physically attacking me. The officer's expression went from neutral to stone-cold serious. Karen must have seen it too because she suddenly switched gears. "Oh. Wait. I was confused. I thought it was my package. It was just a mistake," she stammered, her face going completely pale. The officer turned to her, his expression unreadable. "Ma'am, you lied about a crime, stole property, and physically assaulted your neighbor. Do you know what that means?" Karen froze. "I should be putting you in handcuffs," he continued, "but I'll give you a choice. Either you return what isn't yours and apologize, or I'll take you in for theft and assault." I had never seen Karen go from raging lunatic to humble so quickly. She immediately turned to me, her face twitching as she forced out the words. I'm sorry." I crossed my arms. "For what?" She swallowed hard. "For taking your package, and..." She clenched her teeth. "And attacking you?" The officer nodded. "Good. Now, if I were you, I'd stay far away from this man's property." Karen nodded furiously, her eyes filled with hatred but fear. And just like that, she was busted. But the story wasn't over yet. Because Karen had one last trick up her sleeve. She wasn't going to let this go. She wanted revenge. And what she did next? It was the most insane stunt she had ever pulled. You'd think that after getting caught on camera, publicly humiliated, and nearly arrested for theft and assault, Karen would have learned her lesson. But nope. This woman had the audacity to try and one-up me. The problem with people like Karen is that they don't admit defeat. Instead of taking the L and moving on, she decided that she needed revenge. And her next move? It was so insane, I still can't believe she actually thought it would work. It all started the next morning. I woke up feeling pretty good about myself. Justice had been served, and Karen had been publicly called out for being a liar and a thief. But as I went to make my coffee, I heard an aggressive banging on my front door. Bam, bam, bam. I frowned. Who the hell pounds on a door like that at 7 a.m.? I opened the door, and, surprise, surprise, Karen was standing there, her face twisted in rage. But she wasn't alone. Standing beside her were two police officers. I barely had time to process what was happening before Karen launched into a performance worthy of an Oscar. "That's him, officers. That's the man who assaulted me and stole my son's PlayStation." I blinked. "Excuse me?" One of the officers, an older guy who looked like he'd been dealing with nonsense for years, turned to me with a tired sigh. "Sir, we received a report that you assaulted this woman yesterday and stole property from her. We need to ask you some questions." I laughed. I couldn't help it. This was unbelievable. "Officer," I said, still chuckling, "you do realize I have video proof that proves she's lying, right?" Karen's smug grin disappeared instantly. "Video proof?" the younger officer asked. I nodded and pulled out my phone, scrolling to the doorbell cam footage. Here's the real story. Karen stole my package, tried to keep it, attacked me when I confronted her, then lied to the cops. And now, she's trying to frame me for a crime that never happened. The older officer gave Karen a sharp look. "Ma'am, is that true?" Karen's face went red. He doctored that footage," she screeched. "He edited it to make me look bad. I'm the victim here." The officer sighed. "Ma'am, do you really think a home security camera can be doctored that quickly?" Karen's mouth opened, then closed. Her face twitched. She knew she was cornered. And then, she snapped. She lunged at me again. I barely had time to react before she started swinging, trying to rip my phone out of my hands. "Delete it. Delete it right now," she screamed, her nails scraping at my wrist. The officers grabbed her immediately. "That's it. You're under arrest," the older officer growled, yanking her hands behind her back. "No. Wait. I didn't mean it," Karen wailed. He set me up. This isn't fair. I was tricked. It was just a joke." But it was too late. One pair of handcuffs later, and Karen was being escorted to the back of the patrol car, still screaming about how this was all my fault. As they put her in the car, the younger officer turned to me and sighed. "Sir, I apologize for this. It's clear she's been harassing you. Would you like to press charges for assault and false reporting?" I grinned. "Oh, absolutely." Karen lost it. "No. Please. I have a family. I have a son. I didn't mean it." But here's the thing about justice. It doesn't care about your excuses. And just like that, Karen was taken downtown in handcuffs. I thought that was the end of it. I figured she'd get a fine or maybe some community service. But I underestimated just how much trouble she was in. Because it turned out, this wasn't Karen's first offense. Oh no. Karen had multiple charges of theft, harassment, and false police reports on her record. This was just the latest in a long list of crimes. And the best part? This time, there was no escaping it. When she went to court, the judge threw the book at her. She was sentenced to 6 months in jail for theft, assault, and filing false police reports. 6 months. And guess what? Her precious son, the one she claimed to be stealing for, was sent to live with his father because Karen was deemed unfit to be a parent. She lost everything. All because she couldn't resist stealing a package that wasn't hers. And as for me? I never saw Karen again. Her house got foreclosed while she was in jail. A new family moved in. A nice family. No drama. No theft. No screaming matches. And my package stealing days? They were over. Because justice had finally been served.